I sent my own mother to prison after she abandoned my siblings, then discovered our entire childhood was an international crime operation. The weight of sending my own mother to prison sits heavily on my shoulders, even now. My name is Adrian Chen, and this is the story of how I chose between being a dutiful son and saving my siblings from the fate I'd barely escaped myself. Growing up in suburban Michigan, our family appeared perfectly normal from the outside. A successful Asian American household with hardworking parents and 5 well-behaved children. My mother, Sarah Chen, ran a thriving Korean beauty products import business, while my father, David, held a respectable position as an IT manager at a local manufacturing plant. But beneath this carefully constructed facade lay a reality far darker than anyone could have imagined. As the eldest of 5 children, my role had been predetermined from the moment I could walk. My siblings, the twins Emma and Ethan, 17, Grace, 14, and Michael, 12, looked to me not just as their brother, but as their protector, their counsel, and often their only source of comfort in our pressure cooker home. Our parents had masterfully crafted a narrative where their sacrifices entitled them to absolute control over their children's lives, a control that extended far beyond the bounds of normal parental authority. The breaking point arrived during my second year of college. Despite maintaining a near-perfect GPA in computer science while working part-time at a local tech startup, it wasn't enough. My mother's business had hit a rough patch, and the demand came down like a guillotine. I was to drop to part-time studies to help with her business operations. The fact that this would cost me my full scholarship meant nothing to them. Their needs superseded all else. That evening's conversation marked the end of my life as the obedient eldest son. My refusal to comply shattered our family's carefully maintained hierarchy. My father's fury manifested in a command to leave, never suspecting I would actually do so. But I did, walking out with nothing but my laptop, phone, and the clothes I wore. The following months tested every ounce of my resolve. My college roommate's couch became my temporary haven until I could secure a tiny studio apartment, a converted garage with questionable amenities, but the first space that was truly mine. My parents' attempts to regain control ranged from guilt-tripping phone calls to my father's dramatic appearance at my workplace, resulting in security's intervention. But the true manipulation revealed itself through my siblings. The twins became their primary targets. Emma's tearful late-night call about being forced to defer college due to financial constraints was followed by Ethan's forced abandonment of his swimming scholarship to help at the warehouse. Each revelation fueled my determination to create an escape route for them, leading to my working 2 jobs while maintaining my studies. The situation took an unexpected turn when my mother's business suddenly boomed following an influencer's endorsement. Rather than improving conditions, the success only amplified their controlling behavior. Despite hiring actual employees, my siblings remained unpaid workers, with even 12-year-old Michael being pulled into their scheme, falling asleep in his classes from exhaustion. That revelation became the catalyst for my most decisive action: an anonymous report to the Department of Labor. The subsequent investigation uncovered not just child labor violations, but a web of tax evasion and immigration violations connected to my mother's suppliers. The consequences cascaded swiftly: my mother's arrest, my father's job loss, and the complete dismantling of their carefully constructed empire. The aftermath reshaped our family completely. The twins moved into my cramped studio, while our aunt in California took in Grace and Michael. Our father, showing his true colors, divorced our mother during her 6-month jail term, sold the house, and vanished to Texas, where he started a new family without a backward glance. 3 years passed before my mother reappeared, standing at my new apartment's doorstep. Gone were the designer clothes and carefully maintained appearance that had once defined her. Her request for temporary housing met with firm refusal from me and the twins, who had built a new life in our modest 3-bedroom apartment. The moment marked both an ending and a beginning, the final severance of our old family bonds and the strengthening of our chosen family unit. The scars of our upbringing haven't fully healed. Emma still battles nightmares about failing at work. Ethan's anxiety surfaces during group projects, triggered by memories of forced responsibility. Grace struggles with trust issues in therapy, while Michael barely remembers a time when our family resembled normalcy. Yet somehow, these wounds have shaped us into stronger, more compassionate individuals. My career as a software engineer provided the stability we'd all craved. Our apartment became a true home, with all siblings holding keys and an open invitation to come and go as they pleased. Sunday family dinners became a choice rather than an obligation, and holidays transformed into celebrations of our freedom rather than exercises in perfection. The arrival of a check for $50,000 from our mother, inheritance money from a distant relative, presented an unexpected test of our values. After careful consideration, we collectively decided to donate the entire sum to a nonprofit supporting domestic abuse victims. The decision wasn't about the money. It was about reclaiming our power to choose. Our healing journeys took different paths. Emma pursued psychology, determined to help other immigrant families break break toxic cycles. Ethan found purpose in teaching swimming at the local YMCA. Grace excelled in debate team, while Michael established a support group for teens with estranged parents at his high school. The unopened birthday cards from our mother accumulated in a box in my closet, each one containing the same simple message discovered years later. I'm sorry I confused control with love. Our father's wedding invitations met a different fate. Shredded upon arrival, his attempts at maintaining a facade of family connection rejected entirely. Looking back at old family photos, I often search for the exact moment everything unraveled. Was it during the early days of the business, when our father's career stagnated? Or did it trace back generations, to ancestors who passed down trauma disguised as tradition? The answer matters less than what we've built from the ruins. A family bound by choice rather than obligation, supporting each other without demanding sacrifice. The price of freedom came high. The shattering of the perfect family myth, the loss of our parents, the weight of responsibility for my siblings' welfare. Yet watching Emma help Michael with college applications, seeing Ethan teach Grace to drive, witnessing our growth into a genuine family unit. These moments confirm that every sacrifice was worth it. Yesterday, Michael asked if I regretted any of it. The truth came easily. My only regret was not acting sooner. Sometimes the most profound act of love is the courage to break toxic cycles, to choose the uncomfortable truth over comfortable lies. We're no longer victims of our past, but architects of our future. The fairy tale of our perfect Asian American family died the day I walked out, but from its ashes rose something far more precious, a family built on love, respect, and the freedom to choose our own path. The story isn't over. Perhaps it never will be. But this time, we're writing it together, one day at a time. In a home where love doesn't come with conditions and family means supporting each other's freedom to grow. Our mother's latest birthday card arrived yesterday. Like all the others, it sits unopened in the box. A reminder that some doors can remain closed while others open wide. Maybe someday we'll be ready to read them all. Maybe we won't. The beauty lies in knowing that this time, the choice is truly ours. 5 years passed, and life continued its relentless forward march. The quiet we'd built was shattered one autumn morning when a lawyer's letter arrived at our door. Our father had died, a sudden heart attack at his desk in Texas. The irony of his death occurring at work, the altar where he'd sacrificed his first family, wasn't lost on any of us. His second wife, Catherine, reached out through the lawyer. Apparently, our father had accumulated significant wealth in his final years through smart investments and a series of successful patents. The estate was worth millions, and despite everything, he'd listed all 5 of us in his will. Catherine wanted to meet, to make things right on his behalf. The timing couldn't have been more complex. Emma had just finished her psychology degree and was preparing to open her own practice specializing in Asian American family trauma. Ethan had received an offer to coach swimming at an elite athletic academy in California. Grace was selecting colleges, with early acceptance letters from several Ivy League schools. Michael, now a high school senior, had transformed his support group into a non-profit organization helping teens escape abusive families. The prospect of inherited wealth threatened to unravel everything we'd built. Would accepting his money somehow validate his abandonment? Would it make us complicit in his betrayal? The debates lasted weeks, with each sibling processing the news differently. During this time, our mother resurfaced in an unexpected way. A documentary filmmaker had discovered her story while researching immigrant family dynamics, and she'd agreed to be interviewed. We learned of this when the filmmaker contacted us, seeking our perspective. The rough cut they shared revealed a changed woman, one who spoke openly about her mistakes and the cultural pressures that had warped her understanding of parental love. The collision of our past and present forced us to confront questions we'd long avoided. Our mother's public acknowledgement of her failures offered a kind of closure we hadn't known we needed. The father's posthumous attempt at restitution through inheritance presented an opportunity to transform his legacy of control into something meaningful. In the end, we made 2 decisions that would reshape our future once again. First, we agreed to appear in the documentary, not to absolve our parents, but to help other families break free from similar cycles of abuse. Second, we accepted the inheritance with a condition. The entire sum would be used to establish a foundation supporting education and emergency housing for young adults escaping family abuse. The Foundation's first project? Converting our father's former warehouse, the site of so much family trauma, into a transitional housing complex for students and young professionals who've had to choose between their education and toxic family obligations. The building that once housed our mother's business of exploitation now serves as a sanctuary for others seeking the freedom we'd fought so hard to achieve. Catherine attended the opening ceremony, bringing with her a box of our father's personal effects, journals, photographs, and letters he'd written but never sent. Among them was a diary entry from the day I'd walked out, revealing a man torn between cultural expectations and genuine love for his children. His failure to choose us haunted him until the end. Our mother watched the documentary's premiere from her small apartment in Seattle. The following day, a package arrived containing the business ledgers and documents from her company's final years. Attached was a simple note. The past can't be changed, but maybe understanding it can help others avoid our mistakes. We donated everything to a university's Asian American Studies program, where researchers now use our family story to study the intersection of immigrant entrepreneurship, cultural expectations, and family dynamics. Our pain became a lesson, our struggle a warning, our healing a roadmap for others. Today, our chosen family has grown beyond blood ties. The Foundation's residents become part of our extended network, their successes adding new chapters to our ongoing story of redemption. Emma's practice partners with the housing complex, offering counseling services. Ethan splits his time between coaching and mentoring young athletes struggling with family pressure. Grace's college essays about our journey earned her not just acceptance letters, but also speaking engagements at youth empowerment conferences. Michael's nonprofit merged with our foundation, creating a comprehensive support system for families in transition. The box of birthday cards still sits in my closet, but it's no longer sealed. We read them together on quiet evenings, not seeking closure or forgiveness, but understanding. Each card marks not just the passage of time, but the growth of our capacity for compassion, even toward those who hurt us most. Our father's death certificate lists heart failure as the cause, but we know better. He died from the weight of choices unmade, love unexpressed, and courage unfound. Our mother lives with the consequences of choices she did make, finding purpose and helping others avoid her path. As for us, we've learned that family isn't defined by blood or obligation, but by the daily choice to support each other's growth, respect each other's boundaries, and celebrate each other's freedom. The inheritance we truly value isn't measured in dollars, but in the strength we found together, the wisdom earned through pain, and the love that grows stronger because it's freely given. The story of the Chen family continues, not as a cautionary tale of what was lost, but as a testament to what can be built from the ashes of broken expectations. We are no longer victims, survivors, or even warriors. We are architects of a new legacy, building bridges where others erected walls, offering hope where others imposed control. And perhaps that's the greatest plot twist of all, that from the darkest chapters of our past emerged a light strong enough to guide others toward their own freedom. Our story isn't over. It's simply growing larger, embracing more characters, more triumphs, more possibilities. After all, the best revenge against a legacy of control isn't anger or success. It's creating a new legacy of choice, compassion, and unconditional love. The documentary's success brought unexpected consequences. Former employees of our mother's business began coming forward with stories of their own, revealing a web of deception that went far deeper than we'd imagined. One former warehouse manager, Mr. Park, provided evidence that our father had been involved in an elaborate money laundering scheme through the beauty products business, a revelation that cast our childhood in an entirely new light. The investigation that followed threatened everything we'd built. The Foundation's funding came under scrutiny as authorities questioned whether any of our father's wealth had originated from illegal activities. Catherine, our father's second wife, disappeared overnight with her young son, leaving behind a cryptic note suggesting she'd known about the illegal operations all along. More disturbing were the photographs Mr. Park provided, images of our mother meeting with suspicious individuals late at night at the warehouse, dating back to our childhood. In one photo, taken when I was still in high school, she stood with a man we recognized as Uncle James, our father's supposed best friend who had died mysteriously 15 years ago. Except Uncle James wasn't dead. He was very much alive and living in Vancouver under an assumed name. The web of lies began to unravel rapidly. Uncle James, whose real name was Young Ho Kim, had been our father's business partner in a string of shell companies across Asia. Our mother's beauty products business had been merely a front for their larger operation. The constant pressure on us children to help with the family business hadn't just been about free labor. We'd been unwitting participants in an international criminal enterprise. Emma's psychology practice came under threat when several clients' families recognized her from news coverage of the investigation. Ethan's position at the athletic academy was jeopardized by the negative publicity. Grace's college acceptances hung in the balance as admissions offices reassessed her application in light of the scandal. Michael's nonprofit faced losing its partnerships and funding. The Foundation's transitional housing complex, our attempt to transform our family's legacy of pain into something positive, risked being seized as part of the investigation into our father's assets. The residents, young people who had finally found safety and stability, faced displacement once again. Our mother, still in Seattle, broke her long silence with a lengthy email. She claimed ignorance of the full scope of the illegal activities, but admitted to suspecting something wasn't right. Her participation in the documentary, she revealed, had been an attempt to come clean about her role in the family's dysfunction without exposing the criminal undertones that had shaped our childhood. The truth about Uncle James's death emerged through old security footage from the warehouse. He had staged his own demise to avoid prosecution for tax fraud, with our parents' help. The funeral we'd attended as children had been elaborate theater, complete with a paid actor posing as a crematorium official. The urn in our family shrine had contained nothing but fireplace ashes. As federal investigators dug deeper, they discovered that our father's death in Texas might not have been from natural causes. Toxicology reports suggested deliberate poisoning, and security footage from his office showed Catherine accessing his private office late the night before his death. The revelations kept coming. The Korean beauty products had been real, but they'd been cut with counterfeit items manufactured in unlicensed facilities. Some of the warehouse workers we'd known as children had been undocumented immigrants trapped in a cycle of debt and threats. The college fund our parents had promised us had been filled with dirty money, perhaps explaining their fury when I'd won a scholarship instead of accepting their help. Our childhood home, sold after our father's departure, was raided by federal agents who discovered a hidden room in the basement filled with documents, burner phones, and storage devices. Among them was a journal written in our mother's hand, detailing years of transactions, threats, and manipulations. The final entry, dated just before her arrest for child labor violations, contained a list of names, including several prominent community leaders and law enforcement officials. The investigation expanded beyond our family, reaching into City Hall, the police department, and even the federal agencies tasked with oversight. Our small family drama had unexpectedly exposed a decades-long conspiracy of corruption and exploitation. The press dubbed it the Model Minority Massacre, a scandal that shattered stereotypes and exposed the dark underbelly of immigrant entrepreneurship. Our family's story became a case study in how appearances of success could mask generations of criminal enterprise. Catherine was eventually apprehended trying to cross the Canadian border with dyed hair and forged documents. Her son, our half-brother, was placed in temporary foster care. After heated family discussions, we made the difficult decision to seek custody, refusing to let another child suffer for our parents' choices. Uncle James was arrested in Vancouver, but not before transferring a significant sum to our foundation through anonymous cryptocurrency donations. The money arrived with encrypted messages containing account numbers, passwords, and evidence implicating others in the criminal network. He had apparently decided to turn state's evidence, using our foundation as his dead drop. Our mother, confronted with the mounting evidence of her complicity, made one final attempt to rewrite history. She appeared on a national news program, claiming she had been gathering evidence against the criminal enterprise for years, waiting for the right moment to expose everything. The thumb drive she dramatically produced on air contained enough evidence to launch investigations in 3 countries, but also implicated her in crimes we hadn't even known about. The Foundation's legal team worked tirelessly to separate our legitimate activities from our parents' tainted assets. The transitional housing complex was temporarily transferred to a blind trust, protecting its residents from displacement, Emma's practice partnered with witness protection programs to provide counseling for others escaping similar situations. Ethan developed a screening program to identify young athletes being exploited by family members. Grace's college essays were published in a legal journal focusing on generational trauma in immigrant communities. Michael's nonprofit expanded to include services for children of incarcerated parents. Our half-brother, David, slowly adjusted to life with his new siblings. At 8 years old, he showed the same resilience we had developed at his age. His presence reminded us daily that healing isn't just about processing the past, it's about protecting the future. The documentary filmmaker returned, seeking to capture this new chapter of our story. This time, we agreed under one condition. All proceeds would go to helping other families trapped in similar webs of obligation, crime, and silence. Today, the foundation operates under strict oversight. Its mission expanded to include advocacy for better detection of family-based criminal enterprises. The transitional housing complex has become a model for similar programs nationwide. Our family story is taught in law enforcement academies as a case study in how domestic abuse can mask organized crime. The box of birthday cards still sits in my closet, but now it's evidence in an ongoing federal investigation. Each card, we discovered, contained coded messages about money movements and business operations. Our mother's repeated apologies for confusing control with love had been a smoke screen, another manipulation in a lifetime of lies. Yet somehow, the exposure of these deeper betrayals hasn't destroyed us. Instead, it's reinforced the value of the family we've chosen to be, the principles we've chosen to live by, and the legacy we've chosen to build. The truth, however ugly, has finally set us free from the shadows of our past. Our story continues to evolve, each revelation adding new layers of complexity to our understanding of family, loyalty, and redemption. We've learned that healing isn't a destination but a journey, that truth can be both weapon and shield, and that the strongest families are built not on secrets and control, but on honesty and choice. The Chen family saga is far from over, but we face each new chapter together, no longer haunted by the ghosts of obligations past. We are the authors of our own story now, writing a future where love doesn't hide behind lies, where family means protection rather than exploitation, and where the sins of the parents need not become the burden of their children. The investigation into our family's criminal enterprise took an unexpected turn when international authorities traced connections to high-ranking officials in multiple countries. A USB drive found in Uncle James's Vancouver apartment contained encrypted files that, once decoded, revealed an operation spanning 3 decades and 4 continents. The beauty products business had been merely one thread in a vast tapestry of fraud, trafficking, and money laundering. More disturbing was the discovery that our childhood home videos, the ones our mother had insisted on recording every holiday and family gathering, contained stenographically hidden data about transactions and contacts. Every awkward family dinner, every forced celebration, had doubled as a record-keeping system. Our entire childhood had been choreographed around their criminal enterprise. Catherine's trial revealed the depths of our father's duplicity. She testified that he had specifically sought her out because of her position in the Texas Attorney General's office, using their marriage to gain inside information about ongoing investigations. Their son, David, had been both a love child and an insurance policy, a way to ensure her silence through shared culpability. Our mother's public confession on national television had unexpected consequences. Her revelations sparked a series of raids across Asia and North America, leading to the arrests of several prominent business leaders and politicians. But they also exposed decades-old connections to our maternal grandparents in Korea, suggesting that the criminal enterprise had roots going back generations. The press dubbed it Operation J-Dragon, and suddenly our family name was splashed across headlines worldwide. Emma's psychology practice became inundated with clients from similar backgrounds, children of criminals seeking to understand their own complicity in family enterprises. Ethan's swimming academy faced scrutiny when investigators discovered several of his elite athletes' families had connections to the criminal network. Grace's college plans took an unexpected turn when she was recruited by the FBI's new task force on familial criminal enterprises. Her personal experience, combined with her academic excellence, made her an ideal candidate for their pilot program. Michael's nonprofit expanded internationally, partnering with law enforcement agencies to provide support for children caught in family-based criminal operations. The Foundation's housing complex became a safe house for witnesses cooperating with authorities. Former employees of our parents' various enterprises sought shelter there, each bringing new pieces to the puzzle of our family's true history. The stories they shared painted a picture of sophisticated manipulation that had begun before any of us were born. David, our half-brother, proved to be the key to unraveling one of the operation's most closely guarded secrets. His stuffed animals, gifts from our father, contained miniature storage devices with detailed contingency plans, including offshore accounts and escape routes. Catherine had never known about these, suggesting our father had been playing an even deeper game than anyone suspected. Uncle James's cooperation with authorities revealed a shocking truth about our family's origins. Our father's immigration papers, the foundation of our life in America, had been expertly forged. The man we knew as Richard Chen had been born Kim Sung-ho in North Korea, assuming multiple identities before settling on the persona that would become our father. His entire history, the successful IT career, the immigrant success story, had been carefully constructed fiction. Our mother's role grew more complex with each revelation. The evidence she provided on national television had been carefully curated, designed to implicate certain parties while protecting others. Her apparent breakdown during the interview had been another performance, one last con in a lifetime of deception. When authorities raided her Seattle apartment, they found it empty except for a single origami crane made from a page of her old business ledger. The investigation expanded to include our extended family, revealing that annual family reunions had doubled as shareholder meetings for the criminal enterprise. Cousins we'd grown up with turned out to be planted operatives. Aunts and uncles we'd never met were discovered in witness protection programs across the globe. The entire concept of our family tree had to be rewritten. The Foundation's work evolved in response to these revelations. We established a genetic testing program to help individuals verify their biological relationships, supporting those whose entire family histories had been fabricated for criminal purposes. The housing complex added a DNA testing lab and document verification center, becoming a one-stop resource for people uncovering their true identities. Young David's adjustment to these revelations showed remarkable resilience. At 9 years old, he began keeping a journal, not to record secrets, but to document his journey of understanding his own story. His innocent perspective on our family's history became the basis for a children's book series about truth, identity, and the meaning of family. The documentary filmmaker's follow-up project expanded into a multi-part series examining generational trauma in criminal families. Our story became intertwined with others, revealing patterns of manipulation and control that crossed cultural and economic boundaries. The series sparked a global conversation about the intersection of family loyalty and criminal complicity. Emma's research into family psychology led to the identification of a specific pattern of manipulation she termed inherited criminality syndrome, where family bonds are deliberately structured to perpetuate criminal enterprises across generations. Her findings helped establish new protocols for law enforcement and social services dealing with similar cases. Ethan's work with young athletes expanded to include financial literacy and family dynamics counseling, helping identify and prevent exploitation of talented youth by family-run criminal operations. His program became mandatory for international sports organizations after several high-profile cases of family-based fraud in professional athletics. Grace's work with the FBI led to the creation of a specialized unit focusing on generational criminal enterprises, using our family's case as a training model. Her unique perspective as both victim and investigator helped bridge the gap between law enforcement and affected communities. Michael's nonprofit partnered with international organizations to create safe reporting systems for individuals suspecting family involvement in criminal activities. The program, called Breaking Chains, provided resources and protection for those choosing to step away from family criminal enterprises. As for me, my role evolved from reluctant whistleblower to advocate for systemic change. The software company I founded developed algorithms to detect patterns of family-based criminal activity in financial transactions, while maintaining privacy protections for legitimate family businesses. The story of the Chen family, or whatever our real name might be, continues to unfold. Each revelation brings new challenges, new opportunities for healing, and new ways to help others trapped in similar webs of deception. We've learned that truth, however painful, is less costly than the price of maintaining lies. Today, the Foundation's work touches lives across the globe. The housing complex has expanded into a network of safe houses and rehabilitation centers. Our family's story has become a beacon of hope for others seeking to break free from criminal legacies. David, now approaching his teenage years, recently asked me what I thought our real family name might be. I told him that names are just labels. What matters is the truth we choose to live. He smiled and showed me his latest journal entry. Family isn't who you're born to. It's who you choose to become. Perhaps that's the greatest lesson in all of this. In trying to escape our parents' control, we uncovered a truth far larger than ourselves. The roots of our family tree may be tangled in darkness, but the branches we grow reach toward the light. The investigation continues, and with each passing day, new connections emerge. But we are no longer defined by the secrets we uncover. Instead, we are measured by the truths we choose to live, the help we offer others, and the legacy of honesty we build together. This isn't the end of our story. It's merely the beginning of a new chapter, one where truth, however complex, lights the way forward. #Echoes of Empire. The discovery of our father's true identity as Kim Sung-ho opened doors to a past darker than we could have imagined. North Korean intelligence files, released through diplomatic channels, revealed that he had been part of an elite cybercrime unit before his defection. His expertise wasn't in IT management as we believed, but in creating digital infrastructures for international criminal enterprises. The investigation into his past led to a sophisticated network of dormant accounts and sleeping corporations spread across Asia. Each business shared a common trait. They had all employed children of employees in key positions, creating generational layers of complicity and control. Our family's story, it seemed, was just one node in a vast network of similar operations. Our mother's disappearance from Seattle proved to be another carefully orchestrated deception. Interpol traced her movements through a series of safe houses in Vancouver, Tokyo, and finally to a remote compound in Mongolia. When authorities raided the location, they found evidence that she had been operating as a high-level coordinator for decades, managing similar family-based operations across multiple countries. The origami crane she'd left behind in Seattle contained microscopic etchings. When analyzed, they revealed coordinates to various storage facilities containing decades of operational data. Each facility had been registered under the names of different children who, like us, had been unwitting participants in their parents' criminal enterprises. Emma's research into inherited criminality syndrome gained international attention when several prominent business dynasties were exposed as multi-generational criminal operations. Her psychological profiles helped authorities identify patterns of familial exploitation, leading to the creation of a specialized UN task force dedicated to combating family-based criminal enterprises. Ethan's sports academy became the center of a major investigation when one of his junior swimmers was discovered to be the key to unraveling a human trafficking operation. The girl's family had been using youth sports programs as a cover for moving people across borders. This discovery led to enhanced screening protocols being adopted by international sports organizations worldwide. Grace's work with the FBI expanded to include collaboration with intelligence agencies globally. Her unique insight into how family bonds could be weaponized for criminal purposes proved invaluable in understanding and dismantling similar operations. The task force she helped create became known as the Family Crimes Division, with offices in 12 countries. Michael's Breaking Chains program uncovered an unexpected pattern. Second-generation immigrants were being systematically targeted by criminal organizations looking to establish new family-based operations. His nonprofit expanded to provide preventive education in immigrant communities, helping families recognize and resist such recruitment attempts. David, now 13, started experiencing strange incidents at school. Notes appeared in his locker, written in code systems similar to those used in our father's operation. Investigation revealed that several of his classmates were children of former associates, their families attempting to rebuild the network through the next generation. The Foundation's housing complex faced a series of sophisticated cyber attacks, targeting the secure databases containing witness information. The attacks were traced to a group of teenage hackers, all children of individuals connected to our parents' original operation. They had been trained from birth to continue their parents' work, just as we had been unknowingly groomed for our roles. Uncle James's cooperation proved costly. He was found unresponsive in his Vancouver safe house, an origami crane clutched in his hand. Unlike our mother's crane, this one contained no hidden messages, only a handwritten note. Family is forever. Toxicology reports identified a sophisticated poison with traces of North Korean manufacturing signatures. Catherine's trial took an unexpected turn when evidence emerged suggesting she had been a deep cover agent for a rival organization. Her marriage to our father had been arranged by her handlers, making David the product of not just one, but two competing criminal enterprises. The custody battle for him intensified as various agencies and organizations recognized his potential strategic value. The documentary series spawned a grassroots movement of truth families, groups of individuals who discovered their family businesses were fronts for criminal operations. They formed support networks, sharing resources and information to help others escape similar situations. Our foundation became the central hub for this growing community. Emma's practice evolved into a training center for therapists specializing in criminal family dynamics. Her methods for helping individuals separate loyalty from complicity became standard protocol in witness protection programs worldwide. She developed a specialized therapy approach called heritage healing, helping individuals reconstruct their identity after discovering their family history was fabricated. Ethan's work with young athletes revealed another disturbing pattern. Sports scholarships were being used to place children of criminal organizations in key positions at universities, creating new networks among future business and political leaders. His screening program expanded to include college athletic departments nationwide. Grace's FBI unit uncovered evidence suggesting that several major family-owned corporations had originated as criminal enterprises before gradually legitimizing their operations over generations. This discovery led to a controversial debate about the statute of limitations on generational crime and the nature of corporate redemption. Michael's nonprofit faced its greatest challenge when several youth shelters were revealed to be recruiting centers for criminal organizations targeting vulnerable children. The discovery led to the creation of a blockchain-based verification system for legitimate support organizations, using technology similar to what our father had once employed for criminal purposes. The Foundation's work attracted attention from unexpected quarters. Several legitimate family businesses, concerned about their own histories, sought our help in auditing their practices and ensuring they hadn't unknowingly perpetuated criminal enterprises. This led to the creation of a Clean Heritage certification program for family-owned businesses. David's journal entries became the basis for an educational curriculum helping children understand complex family dynamics and recognize manipulation. His perspective as a child straddling multiple worlds, legitimate and criminal, chosen family and biological ties, offered unique insight into the challenges faced by children in similar situations. As for me, my software company's algorithms began identifying patterns suggesting that criminal organizations were adapting to our detection methods by creating even more complex family structures. The traditional nuclear family model was being deliberately distorted, with children being placed in seemingly unrelated households to avoid detection. The house where we grew up was eventually converted into a museum and educational center, each room telling part of the story of how criminal enterprises exploit family bonds. The hidden room in the basement became a memorial to all the children unknowingly caught in their parents' webs of deception. Our mother surfaced one final time, through a series of encrypted messages sent to every major news organization simultaneously. The messages contained detailed confessions and operational data, but also something unexpected, evidence that she had been working with an international task force for years, playing a long game to expose larger networks. Whether this was truth or her final manipulation remains unclear. Today, the Foundation's work continues to evolve. We've learned that breaking cycles of criminal exploitation requires more than just law enforcement. It requires reimagining the very nature of family bonds and legacy. Each new case we encounter adds another layer to our understanding of how criminal enterprises corrupt the most fundamental human connections. David recently asked me if I thought we'd ever know the whole truth about our family. I told him that truth isn't always about knowing all the facts. Sometimes it's about choosing what legacy to carry forward. He nodded and added a line to his journal. Sometimes the strongest family trees grow from broken roots. The Chen family story, or the Kim family story, or whatever name truly belongs to us, continues to unfold. Each revelation brings new challenges, but also new opportunities to help others break free from similar patterns. We've learned that the past doesn't define us, but it can inform how we shape the future. The investigation into our family's empire may never truly end. Like ripples in a pond, the effects of their actions continue to spread outward, touching lives in ways we're still discovering. But we're no longer just observers of this legacy. We're actively working to transform it. Our story has become something larger than ourselves, a testament to the possibility of breaking free from predetermined paths, of choosing truth over comfort, of building authentic connections in a world of manufactured ones. The empire our parents built may have been founded on lies, but from its ashes, we're building something far more valuable, a foundation of truth, choice, and genuine love. The journey continues, and with each step, we move further from the shadows of our past and into a future of our own making. The price of truth may be high, but the cost of lies is immeasurable. We choose truth, whatever it may reveal, and face it together as a family bound not by blood or secrets, but by choice and understanding. Thank you for watching. If you haven't subscribed yet, please do so, and hit the notification bell to stay updated with more shocking real-life stories.